Well, Rio, I appreciate you doing this. I watched the documentary last night. Really good. I watched on, the racial abuse, the players' experience, and also the documentary on mental health. So both great documentaries. Focus more on, mainly on the one where the players experience racial abuse and how they try to combat it. And in the first 2 minutes, you asked a question that I didn't even know the answer to, and is football racist? And I thought it was a really good question. I think the supporters who go to games, by and large, some racist fans still exist. But when you think about football, loads of black players in the field. But for me personally, me being a journalist, I'm not saying it ties into racism, but by and large, me covering West Ham, if there's 3 black journals, that's a great day. Because it's mainly me. When I go to an away game, I know I'm going to be the only black journal there, for example. You think about sporting director roles, by and large, still Rio Ferdinand, not many others in this country. So it's a great question, but I really haven't got the answers. What about you? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it is. I think there's racist elements that are in the game. I think filming the documentary was really to kind of like, after the Euros especially, we were in the process already, but after the Euros it just kind of comes to the fore and you go, wow, if anybody doubted if there was racism in and around football, that was a moment where you went, it's definitely there. It was just hiding. And I kind of got lulled into thinking, football's doing a great job and it's fine. It's just that it was just hiding. That's all it was doing. And then that happens, and then you sit there and go, okay, so what's the reaction of the game, of the industry of football? And there isn't really a strong enough one that you sit there and go, I'll stand behind that. Too many mixed messages. The different stakeholders in the game all got their own messaging. We were just talking off air before. You got commercial companies, Nike, Adidas got their own slogans. The PFA got theirs, Premier League got theirs, the FA got theirs, Kick It Out got theirs. It's all, if you tell your kids or your niece or nephew or brother or sister, right, if you're talking about football and racism and this is how you want it's seen in football and this is how we're trying to combat it, you couldn't send them to one place and say that's the message.
Yeah, no, sure.
So the kids, the younger generation or anybody looking at it are even more confused coming out of that conversation. So while filming this, that's what we kind of see, that there needs to be a unified approach, the players unified, but also the messaging that goes out there for people when we're talking about combating racism needs to be really a unified, singular bang. That's our strap line. There you go. And we're all following that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. During, you say you recorded it for 2 years, right, the documentary?
Over 2 years.
Over 2 years. What were some of the main frustrations or issues you had while recording the documentary?
Well, some of the main frustrations, also you'll never believe it really, is getting the players to talk.
I had a feeling it was that, you know.
Did you, yeah?
Yeah, I had a feeling it was that. Before I get your answer, right, for me, I feel like, because you spoke to Enia Luco, and she says one of the issues she thinks is that as a collective, there's not many of us, or many of the players who are talking. So let's say you have one player who's a bit outspoken. Us to me, they were like, wow, that player's outspoken. But the reason why the reactions like that is everyone's sort of quiet. No one wants to voice their opinions. We have someone like Troy Deeney who voices concerns, Zaha, Akinfenwa. It's 3 out of like how many? So that's my take on it. What's yours?
Yeah, not enough players want to speak. Like I have to commend and give thanks really, and really proud of like the contributors that come on, like Akinfenwa, like Zaha, like Lukaku. These guys come out and spoken. I understand why some people don't want to speak, because I say it in a documentary, I'm tired of talking about this, man. It's draining.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, it's going over old Grant all the time. And so some of the players don't want to talk for that reason. And some of them are saying, well, why am I going to talk if nothing gets done? I'm wasting breath. I'm wasting my time because nothing gets done. Look at the 3 boys that got abused. What's happened after that? Look at when so-and-so got abused. Look at when this happened. Look at what happens. The authorities don't seem to have the will to really want to change this.
Yeah.
So why am I going to talk?
Yeah.
And then take the flack that comes with it, maybe. The spotlight, the attention. I don't want all that. I don't need it. So I understand that. But then if we all do that, then this problem stays there for another 50 to 100 years. So when we approached some players, it was about trying to just tell them and convey to them that this isn't just like a documentary for me as my ego, or for just to say, oh, racism's a problem in the game, or mental health's a problem, or sexuality's a problem in the game, whatever. It was more about, yes, it's highlighting the issues, but what solutions could we get in motion to help start the eradication process and try to start the healing with these situations and start seeing a better outcome for these situations and the people involved. And that was the big thing for us. And I think we're on the right journey with that. We'll see once this drops how it's received. But I think the fact that I'm now going into to board meetings at board level with the Premier League, one of the stakeholders in the game, says that, okay, something's clicking.
Yeah.
But by no means are we at a point where we go, it's done. We've achieved what we wanted to achieve. This is just a start. And I think that was important.
You know, in terms of the player who said, oh, you know, Rio, I just can't do it. Was someone saying, I spoke to my team and we decided it's just not a thing we can do?
It's mainly that. It's mainly like my agent said, like, I can't do it. A lot of the problems were the agents, I have to be honest. It's not necessarily the players. Sometimes you don't even get to the player.
Yeah.
Because I'm respectful. Like, I'll talk to the agent sometimes instead of the player. The players concentrate on the game. Some players I went to. But mainly, I'm speaking to agents, and they're like, "No, I don't want them to be seen like in something like this. They don't need the focus. They don't need the attention." I'm like, boy, it ain't really about the player.
Yeah.
This ain't about the player.
For sure.
This is about them helping the next generation, the next person who hasn't got the resources of an agent or support system around them or the financial resources around them to help them in these situations. It's for the people go down the pyramid that I want you to speak for.
Yeah.
And that wasn't really grasped by enough agents and enough people in the game to come forward and say, listen, we had a round table. I invited, how many clubs did we invite?
Every single Cat A.
Every single Cat A team we invited to a round table in a hotel. Nice hotel, nice coffee, nice tea.
Nice food?
Food, everything, brunch laid on. Four or five teams turned up. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, like, I understand on one hand the apprehension and people make documentaries all the time, and it's a bit of an area where we don't want to be vulnerable. Our image and our brand is at stake. I understand that, but I'd like to think that, like, I played the game, I was in the game, there's an element of trust. I'm not trying to stitch anyone up. They must know that with me. And also, bigger than that is the issue.
Yeah, for sure.
But for whatever reason, these people didn't turn up, and testament again to the clubs that did. Some are doing good work, some are on the road, some are learning, some wanted to learn.
Yeah.
But it was good to see that they know about it. Mental health, this episode, and they're really trying to move the dial on it. But it's about communicating and talking, man. Yeah. Without these conversations, the dial don't move.
No, it's true. Like, recent example, Ivan Toney, right, where you put out that screenshot on his Twitter. I wasn't even thinking, oh my goodness, and not like, this is terrible. I was thinking, oh, another one. Like, it's happened again. It's happened again. What's going to come of it? Nothing really. You know what I mean? That's me thinking that.
But that's the common consensus, I think, on this documentary we were filming. Most of the people we were talking to experienced racism was like, nothing happens though.
Yeah.
So, and also, if you do report it, like the people, you have to report it. For anyone to be prosecuted, you've got to go and report it. So you've got to relive the whole experience again, and again, and again. But that can't be right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't have to relive that experience.
On average week, I have to know you, like, racial abuse, whether it be Twitter, or your DMs on Instagram, how often during the course of a week?
It depends. I think what we found as well with the data, and we work with a good company, Signify, on this, is it's like, it is driven a lot by incidents as well, or reaction to certain incidents. So it's like around a certain goal or a certain moment in the game, or by what I might say in my punditry, then you'll see stuff like that. Yeah. But also, like, I'm not of the type of person sitting there searching and scrolling through my social media for all this stuff. Obviously, sometimes it's there and you can't not see it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to just boil it down to, like, how many a week type stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. You mentioned in the doc, you didn't say which club or how old you were, but you were at training and someone said something to you.
Yeah, I was young.
Like, how did you find that experience looking back now?
Yeah, it was mad. I got into, like, almost a fight, like, really, with a boy, but the club dealt with it well, to be fair, which was good at the time. The kid got told not to come back. I ended up leaving and didn't stay there, but it was dealt with in the right way. After I initially was, like, I said, listen, that's why we were getting into it like that because the boy said this. But it wasn't the first time I'd experienced racism, so it wasn't like, oh, what is that? That's a surprise.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know, man. When you're a young black boy and you're growing up and you experience racism, it's like you ain't shocked by it, unfortunately.
It's the truth.
Yeah, I'm not shocked by racism. I'm not shocked by people's ignorance. I know it's there. It's just that you're shocked that it's not being dealt with the right way after all this time.
How old were you when you first experienced like racism?
Probably about 7 or 8 years old.
You know, for you, right, 'cause I told you off camera, we're both from similar backgrounds, so obviously you're Peckham, I'm Brixton, right? My parents are Caribbean. My mum always gave me the talk, be careful, this could happen, if it happens, act a certain way, I don't want police coming to my house and do the
that was the main one, don't want police coming to the
don't
house.
want police coming to my house. You know what I mean? So, for you, did your parents give you that talk as well when you were younger?
Yeah, especially after that moment, because obviously your parents are waiting to gauge when's the right time and when you're capable of taking in that information. And it was a neighbour a couple of doors up that I was riding my bike out underneath their window out on the landing in the flats, and I heard the lady say something, and I didn't know, it felt like it was at me, but I didn't understand what the words meant. So I went to my mum and said, "Mum, what does this word mean? Like how do you know that word?" And I said, "Oh, the lady said it there." So my mum went down and kicked through the woman's door, dragged the woman, and then whatever, but that was the first time that I knew because my mum's reaction that them words don't get said.
Yeah.
And so it was, from that point on, it was like almost like you don't even need explaining.
I remember I was playing football in my local estate. Obviously, I was not good at football. I was terrible. I was a fell right back, really poor. And this white guy said something to me, right? And then I said, "Oh, Mum, playing football earlier." This white guy said something. He's like, "What?" And Benjamin, he's still downstairs. She went downstairs, roughed him up the Caribbean way. And she was like, "Don't ever say it to my son again." And it's like...
But most people have got experiences like that, people of colour. I think it's but the disappointing thing, where it happened with our time, is unfortunate when we were younger, but I'm talking like 30, I'm going to show my age here, innit? But like, I'm talking like 35 years ago, man. Like, and we're still having the same conversation now. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Sadly for me, Rio, I think this is still going to keep happening. I really do. Like, I really do. I'll give you an example, right? So I'm 28, and I have 2 examples of me dealing with like a comment where I'm like, did that really just happen? So I remember my first day at uni, we're all going around like similar environment like this, talking about our journeys, how old we are, where we're from, and then this white girl comes up to me and says, "Have I been to prison?" That's the first thing she asks me, "Have I been to prison?" And I have to laugh it off. Remember I asked you earlier, keeping composure. I have to laugh it off. I can't be like, "What on earth are you asking me?" Because if I lash out, I'll get angry. "Oh, the angry black kid. Oh, look at this guy, just like everyone else." So that was the first time I'm like, "What on earth are you doing?" The second time, I was at an athletics event in Sheffield. And then I get my accreditation, and she says to me, "We don't get faces like you around here much." And again, I had to keep my composure. You know what I mean? I can't lash out. And there's so many you go through stuff like
Ignorance,
this.
isn't it? Ignorant behaviour. But that's why it goes back to when we were filming this, is that what some of the learnings is that like, these topics need to be approached with a unified approach.
Yeah.
Like the players need to come together and be together to combat this type of thing. And I'm not saying they're going to change it in an instance, but we went to LA and you're seeing like the NBA teams, the way that they deal with this, the NBA players. There's an issue in the NBA that the players ain't happy with, and it revolves around race or inequality, etc. They are on it. These players come together and they are one voice.
Yep.
All of them, one voice together, and shit happens. Shit
It
changes.
ties into what Nico said, that collective, like everyone coming together.
Yeah, and the players, and that was the importance of making this as well. The players, you can tell people, it's like kids, you can tell your kids something, but when your kids see something, they take it in different, they receive it differently, and hopefully this documentary could be a part, could play out like that a little bit for the players to, so actually together we can make some impact. We can get in the doors and be at the table and have a voice.
Yeah. Have your kids seen the documentary, and if so, what's been their feedback? So
No, not yet.
Okay.
I showed my son who's in it a little rush of it, and he said, "Dad, my trim, come on, man." You didn't tell me. My trim's disgusting, Dad.
What, no
He's
skin
devastated.
fade, no.
He had no skin. He's devastated, and he's like quite into his haircuts and that now. He was absolutely devastated. But no. Again, that's another reason I make these things, because I love making documentaries. My kids, it's educational for them as well, and the authenticity that comes with making these documentaries. And this is what I really love. This. I want to do this more with with football, especially with teams, with players, and just bring that real authentic value to the screens, which I think we do.
I want to take your mind back to the Euros, right? Because when Saka, Sancho, and Rashford missed the penalty, obviously you recorded, being at the game and whatnot. For you, right, when Saka missed, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
Oh shit.
What, oh shit, as in England?
Yeah, I just think, not the first thing, after I settled down, I was like, rah, he better brace himself.
That's the first thing I thought as well.
Yeah, better be ready, Like,
I didn't even think, oh no, England have lost. I thought...
No, I thought, first of all, England have lost, and oh my God, and then within a couple of minutes, I was like, rah, I wonder if he's going to go on social media because he's going to get roasted.
And it happened. It happened. All three of them. You know what I mean? And it's like, because I'm not sure if there's like a YouTube video like the actor for Get Out, Rashford, and I think LeBron all talking about the experiences. And then the actor said, I can't remember his name, like, when you're doing well, you're a black person, it's amazing, you know what I mean? But the moment you're not doing so great, there's like emphasis on your colour.
No, when you're doing really well, I found this when I played football even. At times, you're doing really well and you're fine, and people don't see your colour. And the moment you do something wrong or you foul at something, like you missed a penalty, you're seen as black.
Yeah.
And the tone changes.
Yeah.
And the outlook and how people see you changes. And that was evident in the way that the guys were treated after the missed penalties. Because before that, they were all heroes. Everyone's shouting their name, Sterling, etc.
Yep.
Black players, they're all...
Pulling all sorts
England, it's England. It ain't you lot.
Yeah.